Oceania is one of the most unusual regions on Earth because it is defined as much by water as by land. On a map, it can look scattered: Australia, New Zealand, New Guinea, and thousands of islands spread across the Pacific. But that scattered appearance is exactly what makes Oceania distinctive. It is a region built around ocean connections, long-distance voyaging, island societies, continental landscapes, and some of the planet's most isolated communities. Depending on the definition, Oceania can be described as a geographical region or as a continent, with mainland Australia serving as its main continental landmass. Either way, it challenges the idea that a continent must be one large, continuous block of land. Geographically, Oceania is usually divided into several major subregions: Australasia, Melanesia, Micronesia, and Polynesia. Australasia generally includes Australia, New Zealand, and nearby islands. Melanesia stretches through places such as New Guinea, Fiji, Vanuatu, and the Solomon Islands. Micronesia refers to many smaller islands north of Melanesia, including island groups such as the Carolines. Polynesia forms a vast triangle across the Pacific, reaching from Hawaii in the north to New Zealand in the southwest and Easter Island far to the east. These labels are not just points on a map. They reflect patterns of settlement, culture, language, ecology, and European naming traditions that developed over centuries. The scale of Oceania is easy to underestimate. Its land area is about 9 million square kilometers when Australia is included and the Malay archipelago is excluded. That makes it the smallest continental land area when compared with other continents. Yet the region occupies an enormous portion of the globe because its islands are spread across the Pacific Ocean, spanning both the eastern and western hemispheres. Oceania sits near the center of what geographers call the water hemisphere, the half of Earth with the greatest concentration of ocean. This means that distances between communities can be immense, and the sea has historically functioned not only as a barrier, but also as a highway. Oceania's population is relatively small for such a wide region. As of 2024, it is estimated at around 46.3 million people when Australia is included. That makes it the second least populated continental region after Antarctica. But this number hides dramatic contrasts. Australia contains the largest share of the population and is the biggest country in the region. Sydney is Oceania's largest city, a global urban center with dense infrastructure, finance, culture, and migration. In contrast, many Pacific Island nations have small populations spread across low-lying atolls or volcanic islands. In some places, the population of an entire country may be smaller than a neighborhood in Sydney or Auckland. The physical geography of Oceania is incredibly varied. Australia includes deserts, tropical savannas, temperate forests, mountain ranges, and long coastlines. New Zealand is known for dramatic mountains, fjords, geothermal landscapes, and active tectonic forces. New Guinea, the world's second-largest island, contains rugged mountains, deep valleys, and vast tropical forests. The highest peak in Oceania is Puncak Jaya in Indonesian-controlled western New Guinea, rising to 4,884 meters. Across the Pacific, many islands were formed by volcanoes, coral reefs, or both. This geological diversity explains why Oceania contains everything from enormous arid interiors to tiny coral atolls barely above sea level. One of Oceania's most important ecological features is the tropical rainforest of New Guinea. Much of the island is covered by forest, forming Earth's third-largest remaining area of tropical rainforest. These forests are globally significant because they store carbon, regulate climate, shelter rare species, and support communities with deep knowledge of the land. New Guinea is also one of the most culturally and linguistically diverse places on the planet, with hundreds of languages and many communities. Shaped by mountain geography and forest environments. In Oceania, biodiversity and human diversity often overlap, especially where isolation has allowed ecosystems and cultures to develop in highly distinctive ways. Human history in Oceania begins far earlier than many people realize. The first settlers of Australia, New Guinea, and large islands just to the east arrived more than 60,000 years ago. This makes the region central to the story of human migration. Reaching these lands required movement through island chains and across water, even during periods when sea levels were lower. Aboriginal Australians developed cultures deeply connected to land, water, story, and seasonal knowledge. Their rock art is considered the longest continuously practiced artistic tradition in the world. It is not simply ancient decoration, it is part of a living cultural inheritance that links people, ancestors, places, and memory. Later, the settlement of the wider Pacific became one of humanity's great navigational achievements. Across Polynesia, Micronesia, and parts of Melanesia, seafaring peoples traveled huge distances using stars, winds, currents, bird movements, wave patterns, and oral knowledge. These voyages connected islands separated by thousands of kilometers of ocean. The Pacific was not an empty void to these navigators. It was a known environment, read through experience and inherited expertise. This oceanic mobility shaped trade, language, kinship, agriculture, and belief systems. It also explains why many Oceanian societies see the sea not as empty space, but as a living connector between communities. European exploration of Oceania began in the 16th century and changed the region profoundly. Portuguese explorers between 1512 and 1526 reached places such as the Tanimbar Islands, some of the Caroline Islands, and western New Guinea. Spanish and Dutch explorers followed, mapping coastlines and claiming knowledge of lands that were already inhabited and understood by local peoples. In the 18th century, James Cook's voyages brought wider European attention to Tahiti, Hawaii, New Zealand, and the east coast of Australia. Cook did not discover these places in the sense of finding empty lands. He entered worlds with established societies, politics, navigation, and history. The arrival of European settlers, missionaries, traders, and colonial governments reshaped Oceania's social and political landscape. In Australia and New Zealand, colonization led to large-scale settlement, land dispossession, disease, conflict, and new political systems. Across the Pacific Islands, colonial powers imposed borders, labor systems, religious institutions, and economic structures. France, Britain, Germany, Spain, the Netherlands, and later other powers left legacies that still influence language, governance, and identity. Some territories became independent nations, while others remain connected to larger states. The modern map of Oceania is therefore not just geographical, it is also a record of empire, resistance, adaptation, and survival. Oceania also became strategically important during the World Wars, especially in the Pacific theater of the First and Second World Wars. During the Second World War, islands, ports, airfields, and sea routes across the Pacific became central to military campaigns between Allied and Japanese forces. Battles in and around New Guinea, the Solomon Islands, and other Pacific locations were part of a wider struggle for control of ocean space. For island communities, the war brought disruption, occupation, forced labor, military infrastructure, and lasting memories. These events showed how even remote islands could become central when global powers fought across the ocean. Today, Oceania contains a wide range of economies. Australia and New Zealand are highly developed countries with advanced service sectors, strong institutions, and high rankings in quality of life and human development. Places such as French Polynesia, Hawaii, and New Caledonia also have relatively high living standards linked to tourism, government support, strategic location, or resource wealth. At the same time, countries such as Kiribati, Tuvalu, Vanuatu, Papua New Guinea, and parts of Western New Guinea face major development challenges. These can include geographic isolation, limited infrastructure, vulnerability to natural disasters, health and education gaps, and dependence on a narrow range of industries. Tourism is one of the most important sources of income for many Pacific Island nations. Visitors are drawn by coral reefs, beaches, volcanic landscapes, cultural festivals, diving, and the idea of remote island beauty. But tourism also creates difficult questions. It can bring jobs and foreign exchange, yet it can also strain water supplies, raise prices, alter communities, and make economies vulnerable to global shocks. Climate change adds another layer of risk. Low-lying atolls face sea level rise, saltwater intrusion, and stronger storm impacts. For Oceania, environmental issues are not distant future concerns. They are tied directly to homes, food security, sovereignty, and identity. Oceania is often summarized as the smallest continent or a collection of Pacific islands, but that description is too simple. It is a region of ancient human settlement, extraordinary navigation, deep indigenous traditions, dense rainforests, modern cities, small island democracies, strategic military history, and sharply different economic realities. Its geography teaches an important lesson: land is not the only way to understand a region. In Oceania, the ocean itself is central. It separates and connects, protects and exposes, sustains life and shapes identity. To understand Oceania is to see the Pacific not as empty blue space, but as the heart of a vast human and natural world. If you found this helpful, please like this video and subscribe for more explainers.